Okay, now in the third chapter, fifth introduction. This is the most important introduction, it says. This is a very, very important introduction, he says over here. Akdama Chamishit. What is it? Before I understand what it is, to give it a title. You say that what's the obligation of someone to do ishtadlut? What's the obligation of someone to do efforts in a natural way? B'derech hateva. Because everyone tells you ishtadlut. Where does that come from? Why? Does my ishtadlut, does my efforts actually change something up in heaven? The Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to change what I say. So today we're going to touch upon it. יאללה. הקדמה החמישית שהתברר אצלו כי ביצוע דברים המתחדשים בעולם הזה אחר הבריאה בשני דברים. Someone has to understand, it's not like God created the world and left the world like this. That's it. God created it and the way it is left. Every single moment, Kadosh Baruch Hu is mechayet ha'olam. Every single moment, Kadosh Baruch Hu mechadesh ha'olam. Every single moment that God is renewing and renewing the world. Be'emet. Right now, again and again, he's releasing, it's the energy of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and it says it, Bapeh. Exactly. Now, this thing has two parts to it. And now we're going to see when we break it down two parts, and then we're going to break it to more parts, we're going to figure out how does it work that our ishtadlut, our efforts in this physical world could actually do something. Okay. Now the obligation of the Botach B'Hashem tzarich להיות ברור מעל כל ספק שאחרי שהקדוש ברוך הוא ברא את העולם, he renews the world every single time. It has to be the person that's Botach B'Hashem, he has to understand that every single moment God is doing chidush and renewing the world. And two things. The first thing is יכולת הבורא להתעלה ברצונו ורצונו ליציאתה מן ההיעדר לתחום ההוויה. That God can make something from heder, from מאין ליש. From nothing to something. You see that you don't see anything in the ear. If you light a match, it's you smell gas, right? You don't see gas. But if you light the match, you're going to really feel the gas. You're going to feel more than it. So we see over here, God is not, of course, this is the havdil, it's a physical explanation. But they're saying that this still stands. That the Kadosh Baruch Hu can make something from nothing, even no gas, into a table, into a tree, into the sea. And now, and the second thing is, halba sheni, sibot ve'emtzaim. When we understand what sibot and emtzaim, sibot is reasons, and emtzaim are things that are the middleman, the things that through that stuff happen. And we're going to. And Rabbi B'Chayev brings over here a couple examples. The couple examples that he brings. Sibot ve'emtzaim. What sibot ve'emtzaim? Mehem krovim umehem rechokim. There could be something that the better word to phrase this is the chain reaction. And in the world we have certain things that have a chain reaction. Sometimes it could be a right away, a reaction that happens right away, and sometimes it could be a reaction that happens over time, where it's a far reaction. That means someone did something, and only later on you see the action of it. What happens? And he gives over here an example. And he continues, and sometimes the chain reaction could be something revealed that you know how this happened, or stuff that you can't explain what they are. וכולם פועלים לביצוע מה שגזר הווייתו והתגלותו בעזר השם להם על כך. And all of this is through the action and the commandment of God to make them go. So now he gives us a dugma lesibot hakrovot. Now the Rabbi B'Chayev gives us an example for sibot hakrovot, for the chain reaction in a close way. What does that mean? So he says, "Hotzaat hamayim mima'amakei ha'adama b'mechona b'kelim." So back in the day, they had wells, and you had to bring water from the wells, right? So how did it work? You had a pit. You had around and something elevating a little bit, or two poles on the side. On the top, you had a pole, and over there you had a string tied to a bucket, and you pull the bucket. Now, back in the day, if you let's say you wanted to get more than one bucket, you had to do a couple buckets tied to this rope, and you pull it. Every single time you pull it, the water comes. They bring water. They come in without water, and they come out with water. And all you have to do is pull. So he says over here, "She'amayim olim bahem be'et hashiva min habe'er." That means right now, if I pull the rope, what's going to happen? What's the chain reaction of me pulling the rope? The buckets are going to rise up, and in the bucket is going to be water. That's something that I can see right now. Someone turned on the gas on the stove top, and fire came out. Right? Makes sense right here. This is something easy. So the chain reaction that happens, that makes sense. Someone turns the key in the car goes on. Nowadays, you push a button. Same idea stands over here. Now he says, but what is my siba harechoka? What's a chain reaction which is called a further back chain reaction? Aval sibato harechoka, let's say something that's long. Hu adam hamatzmid et habema. If a person ties on the animal, let's say he ties in an ox, this rope. אלא את הבהמה אל המשאבה ואז תניע אותה ולהרים את המים מקרקעית הבאר אל פני האדמה. So he says over here, what's a further reaction is when someone goes and pulls, when someone takes a rope and you tie it to the animal. Now the animal stays in one place. And what you do at that maniauto, you push him, you tell the animal, let's go move. And the animal starts moving, and when it starts moving, because the rope is bringing the water from the well, and there's water over there. So now we see. Now, if someone would see it, someone would understand that the man pushed it. How did the water come? The animal moved. But the chain reaction over here, the chain reaction it's called the further chain reaction. That means all the person did is told the animal move forward, or pushed him forward, or hit him forwards. The animal started moving. Then a person that comes sees the water, the bucket's coming up. Why? Because the animal. It's not that a person himself pulled the rope. So over here, that's called a further reaction, a chain reaction that's further to understand. It's like you're gonna press a button over here, and in 10 minutes the light's gonna turn on. Delay, exactly. So it could be I'm gonna come over here in 5 minutes, then the light turn on. I'm gonna say no one pressed the button, right? I was never here. So what is he trying to tell us over here? So let's understand what's the middleman over here. The middleman over here is the vessels, is the rope, is the animal. What is the thing that all this thing happened through? Through the man pushing the animal. So he's explaining over here that the man is considered the further chain reaction, and the vessels which are bringing the water are considered a close reaction, chain reaction. These are the middleman between the man and the vessel. What's bringing the vessels to us? What's bringing the vessels towards us in order to make a change over here is the behemah, the animal. If you don't have the animal over here, nothing's going to happen. Then it's going to be easy. Everyone's going to see you pulling the rope. But now, let's understand this. We have the first is the man. He's considered a further chain reaction. Then we have the vessels which are filling up and getting pulled up. That is the end process. Now what's in the middle? The animal. The animal is doing the work over here. Through the animal, but what's going to happen if there's going to be a mistake? The animal's going to get injured or die. Or you're going to have, the rope is going to rip. So in that moment, it has nothing to do with the man or the bucket. It's the middleman stopped over here. So too, and over here we're going to elaborate this Hashem later on, but so too is the Ben Adam. That whatever the Kadosh Baruch Hu decided for you, it's decided. But the second you, as the middleman, you have the power to change it. When the animal dies, you cannot bring the water to the man. So the man is A, the water is C, but if you don't have B, you cannot continue forward. So too, Ben Adam, when someone does ishtadlut, this is the first chapter we can understand what's an effort in the physical world. When I see that I'm not successful in something, I'm not succeeding in something, and I stand for myself and I understand that I have to change it with something with myself, and I'll tell myself, what is it? Even though that I'm changing something, what does it mean that what is it going to do in my physical world? Well, here we see, if you didn't have that animal pulling the buckets, you're not going to have the water from the well. So too, if you don't do the action for yourself and do an effort in this world, you're not going to get the buckets, the shefa from God. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen.